Hey guys, this week's fraction lesson is going to be on comparing and ordering fractions with the same denominator. Now remember, denominator is the bottom number of a fraction, and that's telling us how many pieces are part of the whole. The numerator is the number on the fraction, the number that we're counting, okay? So I have four different sets of fractions here that we're going to comparing. The first is quarters, okay? So I have 1/4 and I have 2/4, which is equal to 1/2. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to color in these fractions. So I have 1/4 and I have 2/4. Now I can see by looking at the picture that 2/4 is definitely bigger than 1/4. So I'm going to draw my sign here. And remember, Allie the alligator, she wants to be facing the number that's bigger. Okay, her mouth wants to be facing that way. The next set of fractions that I'm going to be comparing is 3/4 and 1/4. So I'm going to go ahead and color these in. And I can see by looking at my fraction circles that 3/4 is definitely bigger than 1/4. So my Allie the alligator mouth is going to be facing towards 3/4. Now the next fractions I'm going to be comparing are cut into eighths, okay? So I have 7/8 and 5/8 that I'm going to be comparing. Now, before I even go ahead and color in these circles, I can tell just by looking at the numerator which one's going to be bigger. And since they come from the same whole, I can do this just by looking at the numbers. So 7/8 is definitely bigger than 5/8 because 7 is bigger than 5. So I'm gonna go ahead and draw my Allie the alligator there. And then I can go ahead and color it in just to make sure that I'm right. 7/8 is definitely bigger than 5/8. The next ones that I'm going to compare is 1/8 and 3/8. And just like the last one, I can just look at my numerator since my denominators are the same, and I know right away that 3 is bigger than 1, so that means 3/8 is bigger than 1/8. Okay? Next, we're going to go into bigger fractions. We're going to look at 16ths. So I have 11/16 and I have 1/16 that I'm going to be comparing. So I can color them in if I want, or I can just look at my numerators because my denominators are the same, and I know right away that 11/16 is going to be bigger than 1/16. So Allie's mouth is going to be facing 11/16. The next two fractions that I'm going to be comparing is 8/16 and 5/16. I can color them in, or I can just look at my numerators because my denominators are the same, and I know that 8 is greater than 5, so 8/16 is going to be greater than 5/16. Now, if I want to order these fractions, since they have the same denominators, I can just look at my numerators for them. And if I want to order them from least to greatest, least means smallest, greatest means biggest, I'm going to look at my numerators. 1 is definitely the smallest, so 1/16. I'm going to cross that out so I know that I'm done. The next smallest would be 5/16. I'm going to cross that out. And then I have 8/16. Cross it out. And then my last one is 11/16. And that is how you would order fractions with the same denominator from least to greatest. Next. Fractions don't always have to come in circles. They can also come in fraction bars as well. So here I have some fraction bars cut into ninths. So I have 2/9 compared to 8/9. I can color them in if I want, or I can just look at the top number, the numerator. I'm just going to color these in really quick so that you guys can see how it would look comparing fraction bars. So 2/9 is definitely smaller than 8/9. So Allie the alligator is going to be facing 8/9. The next two I'm comparing are 5/9 and 3/9. 5/9 and 3/9. 5/9 is definitely bigger, so Allie the alligator is going to be facing 5/9. Now I need to order these four fractions from least to greatest. So again, from the smallest all the way to the biggest. Since the denominators are all the same, all I have to do is look at the top number, the numerator. So 2/9 is the smallest. And then we have 3/9. And then we have 5/9. Oh, a little crooked. And then we have 8/9 from least to greatest. Now, without even looking at fraction circles or fraction bars, I have a bunch of fractions from 8ths. Okay, they're all from a whole that is cut into 8 pieces. I want you guys to pause the video here, and on your whiteboards, I want you to order these 4 fractions, this time from greatest to least. So from the biggest to the smallest. So we have 2/8, 7/8, 1/8, and 5/8. So pause the video, and I want you to write these on your whiteboard in order from greatest to least. Okay, now that you've tried it, let's make sure you guys have the right answer. So the biggest number, the numerator, would be 7/8. Cross it out to know that I'm done. The next biggest one is 5/8. And then we have 2/8. And then the smallest one is 1/8. Give yourself a check mark if you got that correct. If you didn't, it's okay. We're just learning this now. Make your corrections, and then we'll try another one. The next one that we're going to try is from 11ths, okay? And we're going to order these ones this time from least to greatest, so from smallest to biggest. We have 10/11ths, 2/11ths, 7/11ths, and 9/11ths. So I want you to pause the video, and you're going to order these from least to greatest. Okay, let's check your answers. So with these 4, we're going from least to greatest. I'm looking at my top number, my numerator. We have 2/11ths is the smallest. Then next, we have 7/11ths. And then we have 9/11ths. And then we have 10/11ths. Go ahead and give yourself a check mark if you got that right. If you didn't, that's okay. Make your corrections. We're just learning this. Now, we're done for this lesson. You're going to go into the Chillin' with Chankasing document number 2, and you're going to go to the Google Drive folder that I shared with you and work on some of the worksheets that are about comparing fractions with the same denominator.